Hey guys, what's up? This is Shock the Niken. I'm changing my name to Shock the Niken because it sounds more interesting and unique and not Coon, because Nikun just doesn't really flow anymore to me. So I'm now Shock the Niken. Sorry about that. I hope it doesn't like mix anyone up, but I haven't really established myself yet, so I think it's okay. So Shock the Niken is my new name. So I just wanted to talk about the Sonic fandom today, mostly focusing on the fact that certain fans really like Sonic to change up its formula, or give it a new twist, or go back to old ideas that they might have liked, but the majority of the fan base doesn't necessarily like. I can understand why certain Sonic fans feel the way they do about how they want the Sonic game to be played, how they want it to feel, what kind of elements they want brought to the table and want focused on. I can understand that, and you know, Sonic is a very broad like gameplay thing now, because Sonic has branched out a lot in the past few years, and a lot of fans tend to go, oh, wouldn't it be neat if he had a sword again, or wouldn't it be neat if they just focused on exploration, or just focused on speed? Why can't they focus on this or that? And it all just boils down to, you know, what is a Sonic game? What is the identity? You know, what people need to understand is that there are so many different kinds of games out there. Games that center on exploration, games that center on combat, games that center on speed, and games that center on collecting things and getting stronger and leveling up. All different kinds of games do that, and some of them mix in different elements to make them unique. But for a game like Sonic, you really need to be careful. When you have an IP, it needs to have an identity. It needs to have this thing that you attach it to. Like, Sonic is speed, Mario is platform jumping. Mario's very basic, very fantasy, very just weird, unique. But Sonic to me should be like exhilarating, speed, platforming, exploration, but it should be always focused mainly on going fast and finding new and interesting ways to complement his speed rather than detract from it. Sonic also has a bit of storytelling mixed in with it. Not always big on the storytelling, but the way the levels are designed and the way you progress through them always has a visual narrative going around that keeps the player interested. Like in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, we didn't know who Knuckles really was. We wanted to know, why is he laying traps for Sonic? Why did he steal the Chaos Emeralds? Why is he so sneaky and chuckling all the time? You know, who is this character? It kept the player motivated to keep playing the game and wanting answers. Most of the time, withholding information helps players to want to keep playing the game. They want to progress and solve the mystery. That's why horror games are so hot now, because they know how to withhold information and keep the players hooked. There was recently concept art and an extended trailer released to the public of Sonic Synergy, a game we now know as Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. A user named Derek Crumb was one of the first to make a video about these new revealed old concepts of the game. I'm not calling him out. I actually really enjoyed his videos, and I think he did a great job showing off all the different development work and commenting on it. It was a very fun experience looking through all that stuff with him on his live stream. What's got me doing this video in the first place is that he made a video about a week after the live stream, asking people to sign a petition he made to get Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric to have a sort of better version made of itself, basically. He says he wants a director's cut version or a sequel or a remake made about how the game had the potential to be a strong platformer. Look, I get it. It had potential. It had a lot of cool ideas, and they didn't get all fleshed out, and the game could have been better. But what they showed in those trailers, even the old extended trailer, just looks like Jak and Daxter with multiplayer and an inner beam and attack combo moves. That sounds cool, yeah, but the way it was presented doesn't look as fun as it could have been. I think it needed more time to be fleshed out and realized, and the reason it looks kind of primitive in these trailers is because Sega was rushing them. Sega is known to be a rather impatient company and tries to get games out for set deadlines that cannot be realistically met when the dev team is still experimenting with different mechanics. And that's why Sega never fully realizes all these new ideas that they try to give Sonic in his games. I just want to be clear that right here I'm talking about games like Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, those kinds of games that got rushed into development, got rushed into being completed. I'm not talking about Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, because those games actually had time to be fleshed out and were awesome games. Sega needs to just stick to the boost formula with a bit of platforming and exploration, like in Sonic Generations, and try different things with it, but not anything huge or too many ideas that will throw it off focus. I really hope Sonic Forces delivers, I really do. It looks like they are throwing in all the best ideas that they can think of to get anyone to want to buy it. I especially think the custom character idea is great because for those fans who liked the more experimental gameplay of some of Sonic's past titles will latch onto this and want to create a character with a playstyle that they really like. Yeah, it's weird to have classic Sonic in there and this custom character in there. I agree, it kind of feels like an identity crisis, but at the same time I feel like this is a way for Sega to truly give the player option. This game can appeal to several different kinds of fans now. People can play whichever gameplay style they prefer. I mean, you're going to have to play all three of them in the game at some point, but the best part is that all three will be polished ideas. Classic Sonic and modern Sonic are already figured out from Generations, so this new custom character must be what the dev team has been focusing on to figure out how to perfect this new playstyle, so that the game can have a different feel to it sometimes and not always focus so much on speed. I feel like the custom character focuses more on a bit of different combat and a bit of more interesting ways to traverse through the level with the grappling hook. Maybe a little bit of exploration thrown in there because modern Sonic doesn't have all that much exploration and classic Sonic has a little bit but doesn't have all that much. Maybe the custom character will have more exploration in the level design as well as different ways to traverse the level and different ways to combat enemies. What makes this custom character work in the game is by having it be similar to modern Sonic, but just slightly different. It's not as weird or radically different like Black Knight, the Werehog, or Silver the Hedgehog. He's still fast and he can still homing attack. But instead of having a boost, he can use whiff spawns to attack and use a grappling hook to swing around. Which, who knows, it might be similar to how the inner beam functioned in Sonic Synergy, so that would be really cool. They might bring back all the different things you could do with the inner beam in this, who knows. But they might not. It might just be a grappling hook. But at least it's something different and something interesting. It's not just like, oh, here's a gun, or oh, here's a sword. It's something that kind of complements the speed of the gameplay without having it be just modern Sonic, but slightly different. It's more like they're trying something new that complements speed. I can't wait till E3 when we get to see more gameplay of the custom character. Now back to the whole bring back Sonic Synergy thing. I don't think we need to do a director's cut. I mean, yeah, you could sign the petition and hope Sega will make a Sonic game or some spin-off where it is similar to the ideas that were previously being developed for Sonic Boom. But it probably won't happen. Or maybe it will, I'm not sure. However, what I want to drive home here is that people need to realize that you can't just expect a game to change based on what you want. Companies have a clear focus with how they want their games to play. They will take fan suggestions into consideration, but they usually don't just make a game because of what someone says they should do. If you want a game where you can run around fast, have cool attack combo moves, and cool power-ups, and exploration, and a focus on ancient technology, then just play Jak and Daxter. Just play the Jak and Daxter series, Jak 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, they are old games, but I'm sure many people have tried out Jak and Daxter, but never really, played it all the way through or tried out all the different games or seen what it has to offer. There's a lot of variety and a lot of cool ideas thrown in there. I had tons of fun playing that trilogy when I was a teenager. But just don't even touch The Lost Frontier, that one sucks. And yeah, the Jack series storyline isn't as in-depth as I wish it could have been. I really wish we could have known more about the precursors and Jack's origin story and the Sage's magic and a bunch of other stuff not elaborated on. But you have to admit the characters were fun and interesting. The gameplay had a lot of variety, and I wish there were more games like it. I know Ratchet & Clank is similar, but I never got into that whole weapon, gadget, strategy type of style. I always preferred platforming and running around, guns a-blazing type of gameplay. I felt like Jack gave me more of an adrenaline rush than Ratchet did. Ratchet always felt slow and precise and had a campy storyline with jokes that just kind of fell flat most of the time for me. While games like Jack and Psychonaut gave me an enchanting and mysterious story with well-crafted humor sprinkled in. If you are a fan of games like Sonic or other 3D platformers and wish for something more, I have a list of games for you to check out. Psychonauts, Jak and Daxter series, Voodoo Vince, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards, Klonoa Door to Phantomile, and especially Klonoa 2. I liked Klonoa 2 a little bit more than Klonoa 1. That's what I'm trying to say. These are unique platformers I very much enjoy playing again and again, and I wish there was more of them. I hope this helps people out there that are searching for more of a unique platforming experience. Please give these games a try. I know that Conker's Bad Fur Day, Voodoo Vince, and Psychonauts have a slow start to their game, and their first levels aren't the best, but I beg you to play them for at least 2 hours and see what you think. There are so many things to try out and discover, especially in Psychonauts. I love Psychonauts. There was this guy I talked to once who dropped Psychonauts after just playing the first level, not knowing how cool it gets later on. You get so many cool abilities. My favorite is using a levitation ball to run around and bounce and float through different environments. There's also some pretty entertaining levels based around what's going on in the world inside a person's mind. The Milkman and Lungfish Obelisk are by far my favorite levels. So many funny jokes and creative elements being played around with. I highly recommend Psychonauts, and I cannot wait for Psychonauts 2 to be released. It just frustrates me when people sit there and say, "Oh, I don't want to try out other games because they aren't like Sonic. They don't have Sonic-like characters, or they don't have a furry character, or, you know, they don't have an emphasis on speed like Sonic, and they don't look like Sonic." They still have similar ideas to Sonic, but they still have their own unique identities and veer off into their own path. You have to give it a shot. You just have to give it a shot. I'm telling you. There's a lot of interesting and creative games out there that people just overlook and just don't care about. It frustrates me. Hello? There's all these great games you could be trying out. Okay, some people say, I can't play Voodoo Vince because I don't have an original Xbox and because it only works for the original Xbox and nothing else. And I totally understand that because I had a lot of trouble getting Voodoo Vince to play one time. I had a scratched disc that I couldn't get to work because it kept messing up on a certain level. What I did was I took it to Family Video, which had a disc cleaning machine, and they fixed it for me by just cleaning the disc. And once they did that, it was like magic. I went back to where I was in the game, and it didn't have an error. I was able to play the rest of the game. It was so awesome. Okay, so I'm eating my own words here. I just found out Voodoo Vince has been remastered for PC, so go play it there. I'm gonna go buy that later. Voodoo Vince is a great game. It's very creative. I like these other games that just try random stuff and say, let's go with this. Where will this take us? And you know, Undertale was a pretty creative and interesting, different kind of game, and people gave that a chance. I can kind of see why. It has a very interesting appeal with the design of the monsters and design of the world. It's very the world is very simplistic and everything, very charming. I can see why people latched onto that more than other stuff. And also the fact that, you know, you can go genocide or pacifist, and you can choose whether you want to be a good guy or bad guy, type of thing. Like, the game takes over your computer a bit, and it kind of talks back to you and all that stuff. That's really cool. But I feel like people are missing out on really cool experiences they could be having in other games. People just need to give them a shot. They need to not be so judgmental. They need to open their mind and just be like, okay, what does this game have to offer? And if you can't, get past a certain level, or you just lose interest a bit, go onto the internet, go onto YouTube, and watch someone play it. Just watch someone play it and see if you like it. And go to part 5 of the Let's Play, or go to part 6, and see how far they have gotten in the game. See what the new levels have to offer. See what the new abilities have to offer. Because Psychonauts starts out slow. Psychonauts starts out slow and basic, and it's really small baby steps to get to the really cool stuff. The really cool stuff is in the middle of the game. The game tries to build you up to the cooler stuff, the much more interesting, fun experience. But I feel like that Psychonauts could have grabbed people more if they had started you out with the stuff that you experience in the middle of it, like levitation and shielding, and clairvoyance was so cool. I loved the fact that you can go inside what people are thinking and analyze different things, and there's just so many cool ideas in the middle of the game, and there's not that many in the beginning of the game. The beginning of the game is so much more basic in its level design. Even if you cheat your way, do a cheat code and level select to Lumpus, Alphalus, and the Milkman, I don't care. If you want to do that, that's fine. Actually, I don't know if you can do that, but I know that there are save files you can download from the internet, and you can just skip to that part of the level. Just try it out. Just give the Insane Asylum bit a try, where you go to the Insane Asylum and you have to go through a lot of people's different minds. That was my favorite part of the game, was seeing what all these different Insane Asylum people were struggling with in their minds. Though my least favorite level is also a part of that, which is Gloria's mind, and that felt so out of place and cringy, and I'm yeah, well, it was cool. It was a cool idea, but I didn't really dig it. Anyway, there's also Borderlands. Borderlands is a pretty cool first-person shooter. And I know whenever I think modern first-person shooters, what comes to mind is Call of Duty, but guess what? This game isn't like Call of Duty. You get to level up, you get to get experience points, you can use a sword, you can use different guns, and it's more about that adrenaline rush and just experimenting and going on mission, driving around really fast in cars, and it's really cool. Borderlands has a lot of creative stuff, and I like its feel more than your modern first-person shooters. I even like it more than Halo, because Halo felt interesting at first when it's with its first game, but then it just kind of turned into modern Quake 3 or whatever, and I'm I want a more progressive first-person shooter, and I feel like Borderlands, I've just been playing Borderlands 2, I don't know if Borderlands 1 is the same kind of experience. I've heard that it's not as good as Borderlands 2, but Borderlands 2 definitely is awesome, and if anyone's listening out there and likes first-person shooters and they want more creative and adrenaline rushed feeling and these interesting missions, then I especially recommend that game. So that's my little bit, that's my brain dump, that's my blog for today that I just wanted to let people know about how I feel about people who are just not willing to try out new experiences and new better and interesting games that they haven't tried out yet. There's a whole, even if a game is old, like Conker's Bad Fur Day, it's still worth experiencing. Conker's Bad Fur Day, I know it's got a lot of weird stuff in there, and it's really questionable, and it just goes all over the place, but that's kind of why I like it. I just like whenever someone tries to just throw everything into the dishpan and see what happens, So I hope you enjoyed my video today, and if you like this sort of style that I'm coming up with recently, and you want more from me and want to hear what else I have to say about video games and other topics, let me know in the comments below, please. Thank you. Have a great day. Shock the Niken out.